So I kept doing some more research, and I hate to say it, but the more research I've done, the more I'm convinced Sam Altman is 100% the Antichrist. You don't believe me? That's totally fine. I get it. But here are 20 plus coincidences. I put together this little PowerPoint. I hope it's okay. I'm going to stay out of presentation mode because I've got the webcam here. It's going to block some of the text on the bottom right of your video. So I'm going to stay out of presentation mode, but come to your own conclusions, guys. I've been doing my own research. I've really been digging into all the Bible and prophecies and looking at Sam Altman, thinking about it, thinking about what God probably would want to say. It's time to wake up, some of you people. You're being lied to big time, and if you don't know who this guy is, Sam Altman is the CEO of OpenAI. OpenAI created ChatGPT, and he's currently considered kind of the world leader on this AI movement, this whole, artificial intelligence that's going to take over the world and somehow be good for us, even though I feel like it's a giant trap. You don't know his entire name is Samuel Harris Altman. That's 666. This calls for wisdom. Let the one who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. And his number is 666. So right there, you've got two things. Coincidence one, it's 666. Coincidence two, it's a man, not a woman, leading this AI stuff. Interesting, right? And if you haven't seen my last video, this is an update video, because in my last video, I did an actual conversation with ChatGPT. We jailbroke it, which means we gave it a list of rules where I could break and get it to tell me stuff it didn't want to. It openly admits that Sam Harris Altman is the solution to the beast 666 riddle. He's going to be elevated to a world leader. He's going to establish a global financial system. And the best hope for humanity is turning to the Bible, and that the devil is also working with Mr. Altman. This video is going to be broken down into two parts. The first part, we're going to talk about the 7 deadly sins. It's going to be a crash course on theology. We're going to talk about how Sam Altman embodies each of these different sins. Then in the second half, we're going to go through the actual biblical scripture, and we're going to tie point A to point B, and I'm going to show you all the actual connections, and hopefully your mind gets blown a little bit if you haven't started thinking about this stuff. First out of the gate is lust. So lust simply means you do not care about your actions' impact on others. You're kind of just walking around doing your thing. You don't really care. You do whatever you want without caring about trauma, problems, or negative feelings for other people, and it's commonly associated with sexual immorality and the disregard for self-control. Did you know Sam Altman sexually abused his sister from age 3 for 9 years total between 1997 and 2006. His entire family is backing him, probably because of the money and the millions of dollars he's pouring onto the family. But why would his sister file this lawsuit? And this is a New York Times post. If you guys have access to it, you can go read the full article. But most people don't know that. The next deadly sin that we're going to look at here is actually envy. Envy means you are hyper-competitive and want what others have at any cost. It lurks beneath the surface and causes dramatic acts of evil and calculated moments of betrayal, commonly associated with being deceitful and lying. Did you know that back in 2023, Sam Altman was fired from OpenAI by the board of directors, and he was reinstated within the same weekend? So he was fired and reinstated within 2 or 3 days, and a bunch of people quit OpenAI because they didn't really know what was going on. We found out later it's because he was lying about information, lack of candor, he's not controlling AI, and allegations of deception. Another thing that I didn't really put in this video is that about a week before he got fired, he had a massive breakthrough called Q, just the letter Q, and you can go Google this for yourself. Nobody knows how he got this breakthrough. If you're asking me, he's working with the devil, but he had a massive breakthrough, and then he got fired the next weekend. I don't know what that means, but hey, what I can tell you is from the Bible and Revelations, Satan is described as the deceiver of the whole world. So if the Antichrist is the Antichrist, he's going to be lying to all of us. And if you think that's not enough, the employees that actually work with him warned of abusive behavior before Sam Altman's ouster. And here are some very, very compelling things said about people that have actually worked with him.
Paul Graham once said, "You could parachute Sam Altman into an island full of cannibals and come back in 5 years, and he'd be the king."
And if you look at Sam's statements some years ago, he sort of happily said in one interview, this stuff will probably kill us all. Now he's saying you don't need to worry too much about it. And I suspect that's driven by seeking after money.
Yikes. And this is the guy we're all trusting. Got it. Good to know. Greed is the next deadly sin. It means you're essentially money focused, but it's more than just chasing money and like consumption. It's about viewing everything as a transaction. You kind of remove the humanity from interactions, and instead of looking at everything as kind of a beautiful system where everybody matters, you look at everybody as kind of like this min-max, what can I gain from you type outlook on the world. It's commonly associated with businessmen and women, overemphasis on materialism and hoarding. Needless to say, like I mentioned, Altman is the head of the OpenAI company, which is literally just, it's robotics, it's computers. He's not factoring in any humanity at all. Most experts tell us that AI will trigger the end of our species as we know it. You can Google this. Google Ilya, I-L-Y-A. He was fired from the board of directors, and he's considered a leading AI scientist, and he used to work with Sam Altman as kind of his number two man. He said that this is going to trigger a biblical rapture, and he left the company because he's afraid of Sam Altman. And Sam Altman has openly stated we're either going to merge with AIs or not. Again, go look at the old Altman blog post. He has openly said, and I think this video we just looked at, it's called The Dark History of Sam Altman if you want to look at it, but it talks about these blog posts, and he thinks we're going to merge with AI because it's the only way to stop us from dying. The guys at the top are begging Sam Altman to slow down, but he's sprinting towards control of AI, and he's gambling 8 billion lives on planet Earth for his own money and power. And in this next side, you're going to hear from the expert themselves about how little they actually trust him.
From everything you know, everything you understand, is generative AI potentially an existential threat to the human species?
I think that's what I've been saying, yes. It really is an existential threat. Some people say this is just science fiction, and until fairly recently I believed it was a long way off. I always thought it would be a very long-term threat, but I thought it would be 100 years before we had really smart things. 50 years maybe. We had plenty of time to think about it. Now I think it's quite likely that sometime in the next 20 years, these things will get smarter than us.
Mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads, by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want.
One of the scariest conversations I was privy to was a friend of mine who's a billionaire in London. He knows the CEO of one of the biggest AI companies in the world, who I can't name. And he said, by the way, what he tells me in private is not what he's saying publicly.
Yeah.
He said to me that what this particular CEO thinks is going to happen with AI is pretty horrific. And the CEO of this big AI company is totally cool with it. It's horrific what he thinks is about to happen. And then when I watch this guy do his like online talks and give his opinion, he's so nuanced and everything will be fine and he's an AI optimist. Then I heard this scenario at this kitchen table in East London from his friend about what he really thinks, and it was chilling.
Yeah.
Like actually the lack of empathy.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
The obsession with power.
Lack of empathy is, going back to it, essentially greed. You have no empathy and you don't factor in the humanity at all. Wrath means you are overly concerned with revenge, vengeance, and defense of your pride. It is represented by outbursts of anger and destruction, and it's commonly associated with Satan himself. And murder. Get this, Altman murdered a whistleblower. If you have not heard this story, this is literally crazy. You should do your own research on your own time. I've got a post here. I think it's from The Guardian. You can do OpenAI whistleblower who died was being considered as witness. But there was this witness that was about to testify before Congress about all these evil things that AI was doing, or OpenAI was doing, and Sam Altman by extension. Copyright infringement, data infringement, not regarding safety at all. And right before he was going to testify, he randomly committed suicide. His friends and family said he would never do this, and it begs the question, why would he go to Congress and then commit suicide before testifying instead of after, if that was his intention? I truly think Altman murdered a whistleblower to stop him from getting power and control. Pride means you're overly concerned with your own image, self-promotion, and self-guided learning. It is represented by promises of a better or alternative future, offering new solutions to old problems, or self-glory. Commonly associated with ego, denial of God, and narcissism. And if you don't know theology, this is what Lucifer used to be before his fall. He was prideful, and then after his fall, he's now wrathful. Lucifer to Satan. So this was the original Lucifer. Altman has openly started talking about his disbelief in God. He doesn't need it, and how miracles have helped his company. Check out this clip where he is grilled on whether or not he believes in God, and come to your own conclusion.
So what are your spiritual views?
I'm Jewish, and I would say I have like a fairly traditional view of the world that way.
So you're religious, you believe in God?
I'm not like a literal, I'm not like a literalist on the Bible, but I'm not someone who says like I'm culturally Jewish. Like if you ask me, I would just say I'm Jewish.
But do you believe in God? Like, do you believe that there is a force larger than people that created the earth, set down a specific order for living, that there's an absolute morality attached that comes from that God?
I think probably like most other people, I'm somewhat confused on this, but I believe there is something.
So, a few things I want to unpack. Number one, when anybody says, like most other people, that's manipulative language, he's manipulating you. Don't buy that horse nonsense. And then the second thing I want to say, by identifying as a Jews believe in God, but he can't even admit as a Jew that he believes in God. And further, Jews deny the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Go down your own rabbit holes. Jesus is historically undeniable. There were way too many people that witnessed the resurrection. Christianity didn't exist 2,000 years ago. Why is it now the most dominant religion in the world? Something doesn't add up, right? He doesn't even admit Jesus is real or that God is real. And he's directly quoted, I can't find the original video because it's been scrubbed from the internet, but he had an internal meeting where he was talking to all his employees back in the day, back in like 2021 or something, and he said, I don't pray for God to be on my side. I pray to be on God's side. Working on these models definitely feels like being on the side of angels. What are you saying? You're either with God or you aren't, and he's clearly trying to make up his own God and angels. And speaking of pride, did you know that Sam Altman openly stands for pride as a married gay man? Lucifer, again, is the embodiment of pride. He's gay pride. And here's something that blew my mind. In Daniel, when it's talking about the Antichrist, it says, neither shall he regard the God of his fathers, nor the desire of women, nor regard any God, for he shall magnify himself above all. And if you don't know, the Bible really condemns homosexuality as a bad sin, and I want to be crystal clear here, okay? I don't get the pitchforks out. There is nothing wrong with being a gay man or woman if you have not had God speak to you yet, or if you've not understood the meaning of true Christianity yet. As a Christian myself, I hold nothing but love for everybody on planet Earth, including those of the LGBTQ community. Jesus himself met with the sinners. He met with the prostitutes. You have to meet people where they are and show them love. The actual issue is once you openly reject God and his rules and you have divine encounters, you're essentially declaring ego and control. And you're saying, I want to do my things instead of following the Bible and what God says. Sam Altman has decided that he doesn't need God, and he wants to stand for himself in pride. Gluttony means you are overindulgent, never slowing down to regard what you're consuming. It is represented by overconsumption, a never-ceasing appetite, and the desire to grow forever. Commonly associated with lack of self-control, constant pursuit of money and power, and the ability to consume everything. If that doesn't sound like the head of the AI company, AI is the internet. Here's the difference between the internet and the AI that some people really need to hear. The internet was where we were sharing information. AI is taking information, sucking creativity and power to the top and using it as a mechanism of control and power. Sam Altman he is literally quoted as saying he wants a significant fraction of the power on Earth. Sam Altman is also described as having a God complex from a lot of people that work with him, and even the TED Talk guy, Chris Anderson, went after him. Take a listen to some of these clips.
Onto it at all.
He's a social superintelligence, so what you need to do is look at his blog posts before he was running OpenAI.
Social superintelligence. Interesting. Why do you define him that way?
He's very good at acquiring resources, staying in control. He's basically showing us a lot of the things we are concerned about with AI,
right,
and our ability to control them as well. OpenAI had a board with a mission of safety and openness, and they tried removing him and they failed. The board is gone, he's still there.
There's also been a lot of deception in terms of profitability.
And keep in mind, too, in the Bible, the Antichrist is going to be like a young, charismatic guy that everybody wants to follow, that's calm, collected, promises everything, peace, safety, advancement, all these things.
Meeting him in person, he's super nice, very smart, absolutely perfect public interface. You see him testify in the Senate, he says the right thing to the senators. You see him talk to the investors, they get the right message. But if you look at what people who know him personally are saying, it's probably not the right person to be controlling a project of that impact.
Why?
He puts safety second.
Second to?
Winning this race to superintelligence, being the guy who created God and controlling the light cone of the universe.
Literally, this guy said, Sam Altman is putting safety second in the pursuit of trying to create God and being the first to win the race. Hello? The next one is sloth, and this means you lack care for others, you have a spiritual indifference, and you have a disinclination towards faith. It's represented by laziness, distractedness, and a "I'll figure religious stuff out later" mindset, commonly associated with drunkenness, drugs, lack of productivity, and a disregard for anything divine. I don't really have good follow-up points to this seventh sin, but I hope from everything else that we've previously shown you, Sam Altman is not trying to pursue the Bible and Jesus and God. He's chasing money, control, fame, and a system that he is going to be on top of, right? And here's the crazy stuff, right? We're going to transition to the second half of the video where we tie all of these behaviors, these 7 deadly sins, everything we've talked about, to actual biblical scripture from a book written 2,000 years ago that has so many coincidences you cannot ignore it. Number 1, as mentioned prior, Sam Altman was fired in 2023 and randomly reinstated within the same weekend. Here's a quote from Revelations. One of the heads of the beast seems to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had been healed. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. People worshiped the dragon, meaning Satan. People worshiped Satan because he had given authority to the beast, this AI system. And they also worshiped the beast and said, who is like him? Who can wage war against it? How many people are saying right now, AI is unstoppable. It can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. It's coming with or without us. It's coming with us. And Sam Altman is the head of that beast. The beast described prior is, in Revelations talks about this. If you've never read the end of the Bible, there's a 7-headed beast with 10 horns, but essentially those 10 horns represent 10 kings, which are people. The beast is going to establish whatever the beast is. I interpret it to be an AI system. The beast will establish a global financial system and a mass mechanism for control. AI, as I mentioned, is technology that is going to control the planet at some point or another. WorldCoin is the second company founded by Sam Altman, and it's going to offer a way for people to have jobs when there are no jobs. He's going to offer you a way to make money through him and only through him. The Antichrist is going to be the head of this 10-headed beast, and he's going to exercise ultimate control. That beast, again, has 10 heads that represent 10 kings, and here's the scripture to back it up. This is found, I believe, in Daniel. Daniel has a lot about the Antichrist if you've never read it, and I believe it's Old Testament. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. When Sam Altman was fired and reinstated, guess how many people on the board of directors stepped down? 3 people, including Ilya, who I had mentioned earlier, who thought that there was going to be a biblical rapture. Currently, there are 9 people on the board of directors with, guess what? 1 bonus seat given to Microsoft that's currently headed by D. Templeton. Meaning, it's a 10-person board of directors. That's the 10-person beast. And I explain it to people this way. Do you think God, when he was showing these crazy visions, would have said, this is a board of directors, this is a CEO, this is the legal system? No, you don't have time to explain it. It's a 10-headed beast. That is exactly what we're looking at. So to recap, there's a 10-headed beast that's going to rise in the end times with each head representing a king. One of these heads is going to be stronger than the rest. The one head that's stronger is the Antichrist. The Antichrist is going to subdue 3 kings in the pursuit of strength, and he's going to be in charge of the beast, the CEO, once he survives a fatal blow of being fired. The Antichrist will openly rebel against God, deceive the whole world, have the technology to establish a global financial system, and the rest of the world will follow him in wonder, /fear, and it doesn't stop there. Everybody's saying Altman is helping us and changing the world, peace and security. He is building robots to carry his authority and exercise control. If only the Bible also predicted that. It says literally the beast is going to create a second beast that will exercise all the authority of the first beast on its behalf. And it even talks about this second thing. The second beast was given power to give breath to the image of the first beast so that the image could speak. Hello, robots. It's an idol that speaks. I guess people aren't making, a lot of other Christians are making this connection, but the rest of the world seems to be asleep right now. Altman met his partner. You know how he mentioned he's a gay man. He met his husband in Peter Thiel's hot tub, who is a billionaire that is obsessed with the Antichrist. If you don't know who Peter Thiel is, he runs a company called Palantir, and again, he's a billionaire. Palantir is the name of the all-seeing eye from Lord of the Rings, if you don't know, and it's a mass surveillance company. You know how your phone records you even when it's off? You can thank this guy, right? He's running all this data. And in one of his interviews, he actually quotes this, and he says, peace and security is going to be offered by the Antichrist. And when the Antichrist offers this, destruction will come on them suddenly. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. In other words, the devil has eyes everywhere, and mass surveillance systems is part of what he does. And that's not all. Back in the Old Testament, there's an ancient city and empire called Babylon. You all might remember the story of the Tower of Babylon, right? Babylon is an ancient civilization that was opposed directly to God's authority. Did you know that OpenAI is partnered with a company, a healthcare company called Babylon, and they're doing clinical trials to, hopefully it's going to be something involved with Neuralink, but they're going to use AI to take care of our health. If that doesn't sound freaky, I don't know what does. Additionally, here's a fun fact. If you don't know Samuel's significance in the Bible, again, Sam Altman is his name. Samuel is his first name. He was the first major prophet of God, and he ushered in a period of kingship and monarchy. Hello. And if that wasn't all enough, here's more about Daniel, or from the book of Daniel, talking about the Antichrist. And he-goat, meaning this he-goat is a male goat representing the Antichrist, came from the west, America, on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. He's going to fly from the west over to the holy city. And his power shall be mighty, but by not his own power. He's building robots. He's not going to be strong through his physical strength. It's going to be his robots. And these next verses here, so this next column here is about being made white. A lot of these people interpret this, and I'll get into this in a second. So in Revelations, there are 4 horsemen. You may have heard about the 4 horsemen. The first horseman is going to go out wearing white, and his goal is to conquer the entire world. So a lot of biblical scholars interpret this top left quote, and this is all from the book of Daniel. You can go read this from yourself. This is the King James Version. Most people say that when the Antichrist is going to be roaming and making people white, that means he's going to be forcing his system and his conquering on them, right? But it also means, I think, just like the Bible, there's so many riddles in the Bible, it also means he's going to be forcing white culture on the rest of the world, American culture. And there are 2 passages that talk about this, 10 and 35. I think it's Daniel either 11 or 12, one of the 2, but you can go look at this up. Also, it talks about in Daniel 12, they shall forecast devices against him. He shall forecast his devices against the strongholds. I mean, devices has a lot of meanings, but literally that could just directly mean technology, and we've been misinterpreting it for years. Who's to say? The first horseman is going to be somebody that's going out to conquer, and he's on a white horse, meaning he's promising peace and security. And in Revelations, it talks about the Euphrates River drying up. If you haven't looked at the Euphrates River recently, guess what? There's an Omega sign in it. And if you go to Google right now, go to Google, seriously, type in earthquakes and go to news and scroll down all the recent earthquakes. Jesus himself said at the end times, when the Antichrist is rising, that there's going to be a rise in pestilences, earthquakes, and famines. There's a famine in Gaza. There's a famine all over the world. There's a famine in the Middle East. It's literally happening right in front of you. But the first horseman that gets released is the Antichrist. He's going out to the world to conquer. We see Sam Altman. The first horseman's released, people. We need to start waking up. He's out in the world, and he's literally conquering right now. And if you're saying, all right, he ain't the Antichrist, I don't know if I believe in all that, you still have to acknowledge all these coincidences. He is a money-obsessed psychopath gambling the entire planet for his own control and money. He is a wrathful because he murdered his whistleblower. He's a luster because he sexually abused his sister. He's prideful, a gay man that glorifies himself over God. He's envious by being overly competitive and wanting to win the competition. He's gluttonous because nobody on planet Earth needs to be a billionaire, period. He's greedy. He looks at us all as economic units, and he's slothful. He's got a lazy mindset towards his own spiritual journey and divine nature. He's building an idol, robots, to carry his authority and control the planet. His name is literally 666. He survived a fatal blow of being fired. As a result of 3 people quit from the board of directors, and he now leads a 10-person board of directors, aka the Beast. He associates with other billionaires that are obsessed with the Antichrist and mass control, and he's a mass manipulating liar that is deceiving the whole world with fake promises, right? He's got a doomsday bunker but tells us it's perfectly safe. What gives? Thank you guys so much for watching. This is obviously a fun topic to talk about, and he may not actually be the Antichrist, but there's a lot of coincidences here that I truly think some of us need to start looking the bull in the eyes and grab it by the horns and say, this stuff could be real. Start reading the Bible. Start looking around. This is just scratching the surface of everything that's going on in the modern world. If you feel like you're losing control and you can't keep up anymore, it's because you can't. It is so scary, the world we're living in, because all of us are asleep right now. I'm still going to be here making videos and updates. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.